just to reduce any distractions and unnecessary noise. If you have any questions during the sessions for the speaker, please feel free to type it up in the public chat, and I'll make sure to collate those questions and put them at the end for the speaker if they are missed. Other than that, I will officially introduce Martin Giamas, who is the founder and current CEO of Moodle HQ. Welcome again to everybody, and I wish everyone a very successful MoodleMoot India. Thank you. Martin, over to you.
Hey, hello. I'm back. It's great to be here. Thank you, Fiona. Nobody saw you. I don't think you had your camera on, but Fiona is here at Moodle HQ and based in Brisbane, and is our person for the region, for the Asian region, Pacific region. If she had already booked, I think, for India MoodleMoot to come in person, and everything got cancelled. But I'm very glad we're doing this online. It's actually better that we're doing this online. I think we really have a chance to push what we do, which is online learning, together. So we'll be learning together, not only by listening to presentations, but by doing it, by using Moodle together with video conferencing. This is the first time that Moodle headquarters has run a online MoodleMoot, though, fully online Moot. We've, in the chat there, we were saying that there was some before a few years ago. There was something called the iMoot that was run by one of our Moodle partners, and we took part in it. But we have some big plans to really get good at this. So our events team are learning from this one. You'll probably see the website and everything improving even during these 2 days. And we are aiming at having a global MoodleMoot, which will be obviously worldwide, running over something like a week in July. And that will be multilingual, multicultural, people from all around the world. And we really want to have a very exciting, huge, big conference. So this is what I love about that, is that it's an opportunity for you to meet the Moodlers in the rest of the world, and for them to meet you. Those of you who come here to the Indian focused event. When it might have been, I think travel to, say, Barcelona would have been out of the question before. So, yeah, let's get really, really good at online events altogether. So I have a lot of things happening right now. You may have seen that during the last some weeks, if you're following our socials, that we've increased the number of registered Moodle sites by a whole half again. Was 100,000, it's now like 160,000. And that's just registered sites. The whole world is looking at online learning. Something like 92% of the world's school children and schools are offline, they're closed. And I know it's the same in India as everywhere else, that a lot of people are suddenly going online. And in most cases, there's not a lot of experience. Straight into technologies, they're thinking, oh, I need to replicate what I'm doing in a classroom, and they're jumping straight into video like this. Well, video is one part, but as you know, if you've been using Moodle, there are many, many other aspects to online collaboration, and that's our job as Moodlers, to explain the history of what we've developed. It's important for people to realize that people's time is valuable. All of our time is valuable. And as much as we all want to help everybody, the idea that people's time should be free is not a good idea. This is a kind of a slavery idea. People's time should never be free. We should all be paid for our work. I think everyone agrees on that. And it doesn't stop when we come to online learning that, if you're teaching online, you should be paid to be teaching online. If you're providing a service online, you should be paid for that service. Where Moodle is very different from anything else out there that's very popular is that we give away the software. The software is free. The intellectual property that we've created is something that anybody can download and use, and that's the strength of Moodle and the whole open source idea is that I'm saying you as a general, anybody who wants to teach online has choices. You can choose to pay yourself to do the work of running this site. You can choose someone else to do the work of running the site and doing those things. You can host it on a service. You can host it yourself. You have these options, and you can even switch options. And so that's the kind of message that I'm talking about in many conversations that I'm having over the past couple of months, especially, because there's a lot of, this .com or that .com saying, oh, we can do it all for free for 6 months, and then you start paying, and then you're locked into those services, and that's not, I don't think, very good for education. So welcome to the Moot. Let's get into it. I have some slides and a bit of a presentation. I'll just take you through what's new, and very happy to have questions during this. So just type them in the chat there, and I'll answer them along the way if I can. Otherwise, we'll tackle them at the end. I think we have about an hour from now, nearly. And then we'll move on to the next sessions. So thanks for coming. Good to see so many familiar names and faces here too. Really wish I was seeing you in person and we were doing some Bhangra at a party, but like that first fantastic Moot we had in Mumbai, or the second one. Yeah, next time. All right. So the Moodle mission. It's always good to restate that we're about empowering educators. We are for the educators. We are supporting education systems. We are of course, it's about learning. It's about students, but we are not a project that's trying to go straight to students. Yeah, we can all Bhangra later at the end of the talk. We'll do it now if you want. So our values don't change, like values shouldn't. We value education, we value openness, we value integrity, we value the respect, and respecting different cultures and languages. And lastly, innovation. We want to promote innovation. And it's the whole thing about the Moodle project is that Moodle headquarters, we're a relatively small company, and that the community around us is innovating a lot. I'm seeing a couple of people saying they're having trouble with the audio. I assume that's just a couple of people. Make sure that your browser is set up to allow audio, and if you're on, say, a Mac or some platforms, you need to maybe allow your browser to use audio. There is also, as someone mentioned, a button at the bottom to join the audio. It's like a little phone icon. So what we're trying to do is build a platform. And everything we're doing is about building a platform. I'm sorry to keep stopping, but we're having some audio problems. Can anybody hear me okay? Is it just a few people? Okay. Okay, so
Can stay home, need to stay home.
Keep at it. Now, very strongly, we believe education is a basic human right, and this is part of what the UNESCO, world governments, most governments believe. However, it's very often not treated that way in practice, and it's something I want to get to towards the end, particularly how we can really push this point that education is a basic human right, not something you need to pay for or you need to be lucky enough to be in the right area. To support that, we need really strong foundations for Moodle that we can trust, for education rather, that we can trust. And it's very important that that we can trust those foundations. I'm going to use an analogy here. Imagine we're living in Star Wars right now. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Star Wars. Imagine we lived on a planet in a Star Wars universe. This is our little planet, one of many floating in the universe. And there is a galactic empire that's trying to destroy the planet right now. And that is these giant profit-obsessed companies. These are the ones who are have created, not intentionally, but through the way they're structured in their actions, have filled the world with plastic, for example, have caused climate change by putting things in the atmosphere, have wrecked agriculture by patenting seeds and genetics, are trying to control communications, are trying to control education, and to make profits. These are companies that have a board that is 100% focused on profits. And when you have that focus over your mission, or when that is your mission, and I've seen many companies whose mission is, to make $1 billion this year or something, then that doesn't mean you're supporting basic human rights, that you are going to be doing the best for all of us. You're going to be doing the best for the owners of that company. Just as a joke here, maybe Blackboard is Darth Vader. Maybe its structure could be Kylo Ren, because these are profit-focused companies largely. And I don't want to pick on them. Really, there is a whole culture, a huge culture that is getting into education as well, but is beyond education. And particularly in the internet world, there is a very strong profit control kind of motivation that I find really worrying. And to me, there is a war kind of brewing right now. It's already happening. Between the people who see and believe in the common good and the people who are trying to control things and profit from it. And these are the sort of companies that I do not think should be controlling education. And when I say education, it's not just schools and universities. It's everything. It's our social media. It's how we get our news. It's how we talk to each other. It's all of that is all education. We're having education right now. Even if you're watching this on YouTube, presumably, I hope you're learning something. So, I like to see Moodle as part of the resistance. And there are a lot of really, let's say, the good guys here who are, the Open Source Initiative, Creative Commons, Open Education Global, Open Education Resources in its many forms, UNESCO. It's a motley group, but they're fighting for what's right. They're fighting for this idea that there's a commons that we all share, that we are all part of the same planet, and that that the best thing to do is to be working together. And so, maybe Moodle can be Luke Skywalker. I don't know. From my point of view, obviously we're the main character. I know we're not, but like we're definitely part of the group, and I just like the orange lightsaber, so I thought I'd use it. So here we are. This is how many universities and higher education are using Moodle around the world. Actually, this is a slightly old diagram. I'm sorry, I got this from an older presentation. There's an updated one from this year where we're actually at 67%. So 2/3 of higher education in the world uses Moodle. It's updated because the new version includes the Middle East and some other parts of the world that are not on this one. So we have a lot of supporters, and a lot of you are here right now. This is a picture from our Global Moot in Barcelona last year, which was a fantastic event and really great to have. We had people there from dozens of countries around the world, especially great for me because I had met most of them on my travels around the globe. And finally, they were all in one room and they were talking to each other. And I was looking at all these people coming up with great ideas together. And it was just amazing, like all conferences. But this was a really, truly special event. So I hope we'll have them again. But I'm very glad also that we're having them online more and more. There'll be less impact on global warming and just less resources use in general. We also had we had a pretty good party actually as well. So that's the Global Moot party was a really memorable one. We had a great one. So let me talk about the things we're working on, the different projects, give you a bit of an update. There are 9 major areas that we work on, and I'll go through them a bit. That's okay, Chiraba. I can keep an eye on the chat. I'm trying not to be too distracted, but maybe I can. If you have questions, absolutely, that'll be great. So let's talk about Moodle, the LMS. So we used to just call it Moodle. We now try and call it Moodle LMS to distinguish it from all the other Moodle things. And that's Moodle Core, and then there's Moodle plugins as well. So we've got a new release coming up. We've been working hard on Moodle 3.9, and we've got some really quite exciting work around H5P. So we're integrating H5P in Moodle by default. You'll be able to create new H5P activities on every Moodle site. You'll be able to store them in a central content bank and share them around your site. It's a very, very cool thing. If you're not familiar with H5P, it's just a really great, it's another open source project that allows you to make very interactive content. There's improvements to the activity chooser, which I'll show you in a minute. There is some projects from the Moodle Users Association. There's a MoodleNet integration because MoodleNet is the other new project being launched. And there's some work on the Safe Exam Browser and hundreds of other tiny things as well, like most releases. So here's just a quick view of the current status of the content bank. It lets you add new H5P activities into a central place, and then you can go and use them around in your courses, because by their nature, these content items are very reusable. So we have a kind of a new concept in Moodle of a repository of these content items. And after H5P, we plan to add support for other activities as well. So you might have a Moodle resource, or even like a glossary, or anything else in Moodle that you might want to store and keep to be reused in many places, in many courses. The activity chooser work is really improving the interface. It's a bigger screen. It's clearer to choose the things you use more often. If there's particular activities you use all the time, you can star them and then pick them at the beginning there. There's also some recommended activities, and it's just a better, cleaner interface designed by the UX team. Hemant, there's a question about H5P. Can you use previous activities that have been created, absolutely. Any H5P activity is completely compatible, so you can just migrate them into core. They won't be pushed into that central content bank automatically. You'll need to do that, but nothing will break that you've done before. This is a bit of work from the Moodle Users Association to fix the participants page with a better filter. So if you have a very large class, sometimes you want to just find a subset of students. This lets you search by role, by group, by lots of things. And it's a very comprehensive way to just zoom into the students that you're interested in at a given moment. There's a new course copy interface. So to copy a course to another course, there's a very quick way of doing it. There were other ways of doing it before, but this is a really nice, quick way of doing it. A lot of people wanted to see that. The MUA voted this as one of their priorities, so it was done. And the MoodleNet integration. So there's two parts to this. MoodleNet I'll get to is a social network that we're building. When you're adding an activity or resource, you're now able to go to MoodleNet from the activity chooser, and you find things. And then the second part is you want to push them back to your Moodle site. So there's an Add to Moodle button that lets you send it back. And this will be very exciting once the content builds up out there as well. Now, I mentioned that Moodle LMS includes the plugins. There's over 1,600 different plugins in the plugins database. These are additional features. A lot of you are probably developers that have things in this database. We have a very exciting new thing that we're working on. There is a problem right now where maybe at a Moot like this, I often go to a MoodleMoot and I'll see someone presenting on a new plugin they've created, and wow, look at this new functionality that I've made. And a lot of teachers go, wow, I want that. And they go back to their institution and they say, can I have this plugin? And the administrator will say, no, we're not installing these third-party plugins, or it's going to take a long time to check it or approve it. And that makes sense. They don't want to be installing a lot of third-party code on their servers without some, checking. And so as a result, the teacher misses out and isn't able to use these features. So we have a new thing coming, the Moodle plugins service. This will be next year. We're starting work on it now-ish, and we hope it will be ready by next year. What this will allow is that all of the plugins in the Moodle plugins database will be available by subscription. Something like, imagine it, the plugin store that I showed before, the plugins database is like a store. And you might have you could have one subscription that allowed you access to everything, or maybe you just say, I just want one thing. And the plugins service allows a teacher to add it to their course directly, because the actual code will be hosted on a cloud service. And by subscribing to it, they're able to bring it into their course. For students, it'll look like it's part of the site, part of the course, but actually that little piece is running on a cloud service somewhere, kind of invisibly. And it will use LTI standard and some other things to bring that into Moodle transparently. And any grades that happen will get into the gradebook and so on. So this is a service. There are servers that need to run. There's people who need to maintain them. So there might be free stuff. We haven't worked out these details yet. But there will also be most likely some subscriptions. And we'll make them as reasonable as we possibly can, because we need to pay for the servers and people to do this stuff, as I mentioned at the beginning. But a key thing about this is we want to pay the developers. So developers should have a percentage of this, just like you do with an app store. So your Google Play, Android store, or Apple App Store. A percentage goes to the service, a percentage goes to the developer. And this way we can create a revenue stream for developers. So developers get paid for their work. And if developers are being paid to maintain these modules, these plugins, then they're motivated to fix it, to update it, to improve it, to support the users, because now they have a direct connection with the users. And we can really build a place for developers to thrive, which means better software, better plugins, and so on. Now, it's a requirement, as I was talking about the advantages of open source, it's a requirement that all the plugins in this service will also be available as open source. So you have the choice. You can download the plugin as you do now and install it if you can, if you want to. And if you're not able to, there is a cheap, easy way to subscribe to that service and get that plugin directly. Yeah, it's a SaaS model there, but for Moodle plugins. And I think this will really open up the whole plugins thing. It'll be, any teacher, they might say, well, yeah, I really want this feature. My admin won't install it, but I can pay, a couple of dollars a month or something to get that plugin, and I can use it straight away. And they don't need the admin's permission, and they'll be able to use it in their course. So I think this is going to really be amazing for the Moodle ecosystem in general. So yeah, very, very happy about that. So that's on the roadmap. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is Moodle Workplace. If you're here inside the big blue button room that we're using, you would have got here through the events.moodle.com website, which is running on Moodle Workplace. So you are using Moodle Workplace. It's Moodle as before, but it has some special workplace plugins. We're not using much of them on the events site. They have a lot of features such as support for multi-tenancy. That is one thing we're using. So the events website will have a tenant for every Moodle conference going forward, and but all running on one code base. But you can also have things like organization hierarchies, certifications, report builder. There's an interface for building reports by dragging and dropping. This will come into Moodle 4.0 as well, Moodle LMS 4.0. Certifications is actually coming into, sorry, that's something else. It has programs. So programs, you can have one course. You can say, that student must do this course before they can do this course. And then they have to choose one of these two courses. And then they can do these three courses, and so on. And you build a program of Moodle courses, and it's all automated. And there's a really good feature, amazingly useful feature called dynamic rules. So for a particular site, you can program things to happen automatically. So for example, if a student completes this course, then put them into this cohort, or send them a message, or send a message to their manager, or all these kinds of little things you might want to do. They're possible with dynamic rules, and you can kind of program the operation of the site. And we found that really useful when setting up the new Moodle Educator Certificate, which I'll explain in a minute. And we're using the workplace site for that. Very, very cool. So there's also some new features like appointments. There's recertification. These are some new things that have just been landing recently. Soon you'll be able to share courses across tenants. So you can have, you can do it now. You can have a course that is one version of the course, and then it appears in the different tenants. And when you update the original course, all the tenants get it as well. So you can have that working across a lot of different sites. You can have reports for different audiences and so on. Now, this is still only available through Moodle partners. And there are two ways that Moodle partners can get it. Most all Moodle partners have access to Workplace through Moodle Cloud. So we're hosting it on Moodle Cloud, and partners can provide that to anybody by being resellers, basically. And we have premium partners who have access to the code and are able to take it, modify it, hack it, do whatever they need to do to make sites. And that's more useful for larger installations. So we already have some Workplace sites for, there's a new one that's just being announced at the moment. For example, in the UK, the NHS is using Moodle Workplace for their training. That's the National Health Service. There's large installations like that are finding Workplace particularly useful. Now, the reason why we're not just throwing it out there open source is this is part of our sustainability, part of a reason to be a partner, part of a reason to be a premium partner as well. With more partners, we're more sustainable. We can hire more developers. We can make better software. We can put out more Moodle LMS. In the end, Moodle LMS is our core product, and we need to always be looking at how we can grow to make that better and better and better for everybody. Our plan with Workplace is that these extra features will go into LMS over time. So in a couple of months, the new certificate module will be available for anybody on the plugins database. And in the next release of Moodle 4.0, the report builder will be included, and so on. So we're using the Workplace model to help build cool things for Moodle LMS as well. Now, the next thing is the Moodle app. Now, there's been some really a lot of changes there recently. It's really evolving very nicely. It has very strong support for everything a student needs to do and quite a lot of what a teacher needs to do. We also have the desktop app that runs on laptops and desktops, Windows, Mac, and Linux. And we do provide a branded version as a service. So we will put the work in to create the interface to look like your university together with you. So quite a lot of people have taken that up, and that's a service that we provide. But recently, you may have seen, I don't know why this is here as a second screen by accident. Recently, we kind of changed the plans and the services around the app, and I wanted to explain that a little bit. As you know, a lot of people use Moodle, and 99% of Moodle users don't pay for anything. They just take Moodle and use it for free, and that's fine. That's why we're open source and how we work. But we wanted to provide another way for them to help support Moodle with a very small payment. Now, I realize in India, these numbers are a little higher than they are in other parts of the world, and that's something we're working on. But these are generally pretty small amounts compared to the budget of an institution and so on. So what we've done is the free app has 100% functionality in terms of everything that the student needs to do works. There are a couple of small limits. One is that only 2 courses can be taken offline at a time per device. And the second one, that you can only have 50 active devices to get push notifications per site. So this should not affect small sites or individual teachers at all. They use the free app, it won't experience any change at all. If you need more notifications or more offline courses for the students, there's a pro and a premium plan. These are per year. So for €500, you get, it's unlimited, completely unlimited. And what we're going to be doing actually is adding even more things onto here as well. So we're now able to let you customize the appearance. Have I got a slide about this? I don't think I do. Just by going to our new apps.moodle.com website, you can customize how the app looks like through the web page. So you don't need CSS skills or any customization. You can actually customize the app directly through that service. And so that's the sorts of things you get here. Now, if there are institutions that are non-profits or really deserving and cannot pay these things, you can apply and say, look, we just can't cover it. So we have a way to apply for that on that website, and we'll give you a free premium site. The other thing is, if you're using a Moodle partner, you get premium automatically. If you're using Moodle Cloud, you get premium automatically. So quite a lot of our users will be able to use premium by default automatically. And yeah, so this is just a way to, the many Moodle sites that are out there in the world who have never contributed back to the Moodle project. This is a little way we can have them contributing back and help us grow as an organization. All right, MoodleNet. So MoodleNet, our social network, I talked about it at the last Mood in India, I'm pretty sure. This has been a dream of mine for years and years. This is the third attempt at MoodleNet. We've had 2 iterations before, very simplistic ones. For this one, we had a proper team behind it, a lot of design and a lot of work. And we are building this social network with 3 main goals. So the first one is, as an educator, you can join communities of other educators who are thinking the same thing, who are working on the same subject, the same language, the same area, same level. And what you do together is you curate collections of the best resources that are out there. So this is all completely free. And if you're teaching Bhangra dancing to people who speak Portuguese, maybe there's 5 people in the world doing that. They can find each other and collect those videos that make sense, or collect those resources that make sense for that subject in a place. Or, even if they're just links to other places where they exist, now you can find them grouped together. And if you want to put them in your course, you just go add to my Moodle, click, and it pushes it into your Moodle site. So for the next Bhangra teacher who comes along in Portugal, they are going to easily find this, and they'll find great resources so they can start their teaching straight away. And I think we all need to see more Bhangra. I realize I'm using this a lot. I didn't mean to. Now, the third thing is that you can have a profile there. So if you're a person who's contributing a lot to the network, you can build your reputation as someone in that area. Perhaps you're running some communities there. And we would love this to be a kind of a network social profile as an educator that is more, it's better than something like LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is sort of business. Facebook also, it's sort of all kinds of other stuff. This is just for education. And we would love to see educators making that profile like the center of their online identity, at least for the teaching in that particular subject. And we start seeing people having more followers and more reputation. So we can really find great teachers now in the world for each subject. And that will help everybody to find out who those people are. So here's a few screenshots of MoodleNet. This is going to be released in May, which is next month, as the first beta, which is pretty complete. And you can see the interface is nice and simple. This is not based on Moodle code. This is a whole new code that uses a different language even than Moodle, uses something called Elixir. And the really key feature is that it's distributed. There is not one big central site. There are lots of sites. You can install one and join the network and host your own communities and your own accounts on there. And because they're all joined together, it all appears to behave like one big social network. And that's we've made this very deliberately because we don't want there to be a central point of control or failure. We want to build things less like Facebook or WhatsApp or Google or Microsoft or these things, and more like email. Right? So email just works, right? It doesn't. Everyone uses email, and it works, and it's worked for 30 years. Nobody controls email. Nobody can take away your email. It's always going to be here, and that's what we want this to be, a distributed social network that will be here for a long time. And we're using a standard to do this, something called ActivityPub, which comes from the World Wide Web Consortium, or W3C. And this standard is all about streaming information across the internet, so publishing activity. It means that MoodleNet, because it uses this standard, is even compatible with other social networks that are being built, and information can stream backwards and forwards. So it's quite powerful, and we have one of the first social networks built around this this standard. Let me talk a little bit about Moodle education. We have a new Moodle Educator Certificate that, again, we've been working on for about a year and a half, 2 years. It's due to be launched in a few weeks. Next month, you'll be able to take the Moodle Educator Certification. This is not a training course for how to use Moodle. This is a certification where you can prove that you are a very good online educator. Some of these things use Moodle as examples, but these 22 skills are actually general skills about, what is your professional engagement? How do you engage with other teachers, collaboration with them, maybe on MoodleNet or other places, the reflective practice, things like that. So how do you select digital resources in your courses, and how do you create them? How do you modify them? How do you protect them? Assessments, strategies, teaching and learning, the actual nuts and bolts of how you operate a course and do that stuff. How do you empower your learners? Things like accessibility, inclusion, how do you engage them, that stuff. And finally, how do you make your learners have digital competence as well? So how do you help them be literate with this technology and licenses and things like that? How do you get them using things responsibly and solving problems? So this Moodle Educator Certificate it looks a little bit like this. It's just been updated, and it's got sorry, I just had some lunch delivered to me. We hope to see a lot of these in the world. We're hoping there'll be at least 1,000 by the end of the year, and that we think it's going to be a valuable thing to hold in your portfolio as that you've demonstrated that you are able to do all these things and proven it. So this will be initially available through our Moodle partners again. So they do training usually, and then the certification as a second step. If you already know it, you can skip the training and go straight to certification. We will also, later in the year, be allowing institutions to sign up for the MEC as facilitators, which means they'll be like the partners in a way. They'll be able to run the training for their own institution. So if you have a lot of teachers and you want them all to go through this, it'll be more effective to be trained by us to run that, and then at a kind of in a fixed group way, and then and train your own staff and certify them. So we have a lot of Moodle partners around the world. We've got 3 Moodle partners here in India. and these are them. They've been the same for a while, so they're all here. Nice to see you, everyone, and thanks for supporting the MoodleMoot. And they're a big part of what makes all of this possible, and how we're even able to make all this stuff in the first place. I'm not sure why that slide is there. Looks old. So let me talk about the future a little bit. Where are we going, and what are the things that we want to be thinking about? I mentioned we're here on the planet. What is the future of this planet? I think we've all had a huge wake-up call in the last few months that something as tiny as a virus is able to knock every economy in the world backwards. And I think it's a good wake-up call for humanity that this is a very small planet, that we are all connected, that we're not the superpowers we thought we were, that we're connected with the rest of the planet and the rest of the world and the universe. Of all the countries in the world, I think I don't need to explain this to India as one of the most spiritual places in the world. But I think this has been a really good wake-up call for many people. And we need to take this energy. I mean, the stuff I'm going to talk about is stuff I was already talking about, but I feel it's more important now than ever that we really think about the future and how we set things up. So we look now at what sort of things have been happening in the past few years. You know, the world is shrinking. There is more data, real and fake, everywhere. So if you're talking about education and you want to learn things, you're looking at things I want to learn. If you don't know whether it's real or fake, if you don't know if there's any truth or behind it or whatever, it gets scary. And you can see the viruses of information now traveling across our networks. There are people who support all kinds of positions and believe all kinds of crazy things, and you can just look at the junk floating around on Facebook or WhatsApp to see, you know, what a problem it can be. And a lot of people just read things and believe it. And you can see what's happening in the US, for example, with their elections and how they're influenced through social media. So this is a problem. And last year, actually, and there's a lot more artificial intelligence around, and this stuff is getting smarter, and it's getting harder to tell from what we ourselves are making. A face like this on a screen is getting very easy for a machine to create. Maybe I'm not here. I could be generated by a computer by now. It's easily possible. My voice can be duplicated. My picture can be duplicated in real time, and this could be completely fake. It isn't, I promise you. I can find some ways to prove it in the chat. But it could be. And in the future, this is going to happen more and more. Last year, there was an AI released that you can give it one sentence and it can complete the article. It can write a whole article based on one sentence. And when you read the article, it looks like a person wrote it. Some of the facts in there are wrong. It's just junk. But when you read it, it makes perfect sense as something a human might have written. So you could point this AI at the internet and say, make 10 times the amount of content on the internet. Produce whole websites, produce encyclopedias, and it would just do it. And when the world is flooded with this kind of fake information, it gets even harder and harder. How do we distinguish, right? And this really affects education. There is a corporate influence over news and government. I already talked about that before, but a lot of news is starting to become less researched by reporters who dig into a story and run around interviewing and cross-checking and opening filing cabinets and digging up papers, and they're not doing that kind of research-based journalism anymore. they're just retweeting articles, basically. They hear something, they publish it, just like the social media. And when those articles can start influencing stock prices, there's actually incentive to start twisting the news, to start changing the news. And when you see governments that are directly connected around the world, many of them are supported and funded by corporate interests, then this whole picture starts getting really bad. And with all of the issues we're wrestling, they're getting very, very complicated. You know, I could say to you, how do you fix education in India? That's a huge, complicated, difficult problem. No one person can even start to think about it. Like, there are so many levels and so many actors and so many parts to that problem that even the government doesn't know how to do it. Like, it's a very, very, very hard problem, and everyone is struggling. So the only way out of that is by improving and solving these sort of problems, by the way. I mean, here are the bigger problems as well, right? These are the SDGs. The only way to solve those things is through quality of education. We need to focus on the quality of education. What type of people are we creating through education systems, through formal education? And if we have a very large percentage of well-educated people, we have a better chance. A lot of the worst stuff just won't happen because we've got people who know their dumb ideas. So quality. So I have this idea that universities should model a better world. There is a chance here for universities in the pursuit of quality to become like a research community, truly, that the students are part of, the staff are part of, and we research the real problems in the world. Why couldn't a university try new forms of democracy, for example? Most universities are the size of a small city. So in that there, you could start experimenting. You could experiment with, how does the university use energy? How can we get our engineers in the university hacking the energy problems of the university? And so on, right? So you start having a model. And once they're modeling that, when those students move out into the real world, they can help fix those things too. Now, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to speed up a bit. People say you can't change these things, right? Universities can't change. We can't change education systems. This is the alternative. The alternative is that these big companies are going to move in and control this stuff. And we know that they have an influence and they have a desire to make themselves rich. So they're going to influence us to make themselves rich, and that's not going to help the problems. So the best way to do this is to get people working together, get educators and students working and learning together. And all together, all of those universities and schools here together are much bigger than any company on earth. So how do we do that? We can do it with open technology and communities. That's how Moodle spread around the world. So I have this a concept that I'm talking a lot about at the moment, and it's open education technology, open edtech. So Moodle is one example of that. There are many other examples in the world. This is one you may know. EduRoam is a little project run out of Europe. There's a couple of people on it. They've built a system that enables anybody in these countries, if you have a Wi-Fi password in one of them at a university, when you travel across the world, your Wi-Fi password works there as well. This is a really amazing piece of open edtech that everyone is working together to build. And now we have a worldwide service that we can all share. Another thing about this, another open edtech example for the common good is that last November, UNESCO made an open education resource recommendation. This is every government in the world, except the US, because they're not a member of UNESCO, but everyone else, all the ministers of education unanimously agreed to support open education resources rather than proprietary textbooks and proprietary information. So this is huge. This is like the whole world saying, we really want to make this stuff free. We want to let people download it. We want to let people remix it and share it and update it and change it. And so this opens up the textbooks, the knowledge, the content side of things, and it makes international cooperation much easier. So last November, we had an Open EdTech conference where I brought together a lot of people. We had a lot of discussions for 2 days to discuss all these issues. We had people from open source companies as well as universities and other organizations. And we came up with, after 2 days of brainstorming and hard work and a small party or two, we came up with these 12 principles of what open EdTech should be. Now, I can't go through them now. I haven't got a lot of time, but if you go to openedtech.global, you can find them there. And we have some focus areas. What we're trying to do together is we're creating a foundation that everyone will be members of. And we're going to work as like working groups around building a global education cloud. So imagine EduRoam, but instead of just being for Wi-Fi passwords, you can put software in there and you can put data in there. So you can share, say, like badges, global recognition of learning. We could actually start building global systems to recognize learning. We can work on interoperability together. So let's make sure that Moodle and Big Blue Button and all the other open source projects work really well together. And so put effort into making those integrations super strong. And some other projects as well. I'm running out of time. So look at the website. There is actually a Moodle site for discussion. We really love you to be part of that and help join in. This will be updated soon with some new structure because we've been meeting and changing as we build this out. So if we go back to Star Wars and the Resistance Rebels that I talked about, I would say I would love for Open EdTech to be like the Jedi Council. Right? This is the people making the technology infrastructure working together to create something big, something open that everybody can benefit from. As we know, and then we can build a better world. So I'll finish there. Really very pleased to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time and coming to the Moot. I'm going to stay online with all the other presentations over today and tomorrow, and joining with you. Let's have a great MoodleMoot, and thank you for being part of the Moodle community, and thank you for supporting and helping all of this stuff happen.
Thank you, Martin. Thanks, everybody. To join the next session, please exit this one. Go back to the event page. I've sent the link on the chat, and then you'll need to join the separate BBB session for the next presentation. All right, thank you. See you all there. Thanks, Martin. trying to join the session again? All right, I think we'll just give him a couple more minutes, and then as soon as he's on, we'll start the session. You have no audio, Manish? You need to unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself? There's a little button at the bottom of the screen here, like a microphone. If you can click unmute. Let me see if I can.
Manish?
Yeah, yes, okay, I think we can hear you now. Can you say something, Manish?
Hello, Manish?
Manish, can you say something, please?
Hello.
Hello? Can you hear us now?
Hello.
Hello?
We can hear, is it Professor Alda?
Yes.
Okay, we can hear you, Professor Alda.
Yes.
Oh,
Hello.
but Manish, we need to get Manish to say something so that we can check whether we can hear him.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes, we can hear
Are you
you.
getting my voice?
Can you-
I'm not getting any voice. Any audio. And my other team member is also joining. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Can we start presentation? Are your colleagues available
Yes.
to join us? Hello?
Yeah, can we start?
Yes, yes, we can start.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Deepak Sharma. I, along with my team, Dr. Manish Pote and Mr. Baba Soldar, welcome you to this session. Today, we are going to present our experiences of using Moodle in our college for engineering education. This is the brief agenda of our session. We are going to talk about our experiences of using Moodle for engineering education and what kind of integrations we have done and how we are using it for our college. Let us discuss in brief about who we are and what we do. He is our founder, Padma Bhushan Sri K.J. Somaya ji. He was a visionary, and he started educational institutions for all areas of education, from schooling, humanities, basic sciences, Buddhism, Jainism, Sanskriti Pitham, vocational training, engineering, technology, medicine, nursery, and physiotherapy, management and engineering. Yeah, so this is about our college, K.J. Somaya College of Engineering. It was founded in 1983 by Somaya Vidyavihar Trust. The trust itself was started in 1959. We are a constituent college of Somaya Vidyavihar University with 5 undergraduate programs, 6 postgraduate programs, and 3 PhD research centers. And we are also accredited A grade by NAC committee. Let us start understanding how we are using Moodle for our engineering education. So this is our landing page. We have installed the entire Moodle infrastructure in our own data center, and we have mapped it to a public IP and given it a domain name so that our students and faculty members can use it when they are not in campus and 24/7. And we have also integrated our Moodle LMS system with Google Apps for Education for students to do single sign-on using Google ID. So this is the summary of number of active users and courses. We have around 1,000 courses in our LMS with total students of 3,689, which includes our 600 alumni students. Total teachers using our LMS is 182. And we have also given access to our support staff for doing administrative activities and taking out reports and so on. And we are catering to 6 engineering departments, and we have been using it since August 2018. Let us have a look at our sample course pages, announcements and study material, how it is shared with the students. So this is the course landing page where we have all the details captured for the students. This is for navigation. This is the events in the calendar. Maybe these are the frequently accessed courses, the course overview, announcements, and everything for the students and the teachers to explore and do online learning. This is another sample page of a course where teachers have shared material with the students. This is where course material has been shared, experiments have been created, announcements, attendance, and so on. This is another sample of announcement where teachers can keep track of how many students have visited, have seen announcements, have read, and accordingly decide the future course of action. This is a sample assignment where a teacher has shared an assignment to the students in the form of a document file. We are also using Moodle for activity-based and active learning strategies. One of the strategies is using flipped classroom, where teachers share their videos well in advance with the students. They can go through these videos and come to the class, and in the class where actual activity-based and higher order cognitive skills can be addressed. So this is a sample assignment, and we create rubrics for evaluation of the assignments and experiments, and these rubrics are shared in advance with the students so that they know how they will be evaluated, and accordingly they can create their assignments and create their experiments. So this is a sample rubric showing how teacher has created a rubric and how the assignments and experiments will be evaluated, and they are shared with the students well in advance. We also use Moodle for differentiated instructional strategies, especially for the students who are having physical disabilities and learning disabilities. So we try to share material with them, which is not only videos, but videos with commentaries and other specific material to them, doing differentiated evaluation with them, where they can actually be evaluated on the basis of oral exam and can be recorded, and then it can be passed down to the teacher for evaluation because they have some difficulty in writing and so on. So we use this Moodle even for these kinds of differentiated teaching, learning, and evaluation strategies. Now I welcome my colleague, Dr. Manish Pote, to take over the presentation and guide you through the remaining part of the presentation. Dr. Manish?
Dr. Manish, you're on mute, please.
Attendance through the integration of email with this LMS. This is the way we can be able to set the email warning and notification. This is how we are showing how we can be able to export our attendance for particular period. So we can be able to export for that particular group also, and respective duration. So we can be able to provide the duration here, and in that specific format we can be able to download it or export it. We can also view the different kind of the report. Likewise, here we are showing for that absentee report. So we can be able to get it the absentee reports of the schools. Next, our teachers also use gamification of course to make course interesting for students. One such example is shown here, where a teacher has designed a crossword for students to make it interesting for them. We also conduct a regular quizzes and regular evaluation in secured manner. We are using for this a safe exam browser for this. This tool makes it easy for teacher and students to focus only in one window and give the exam. They cannot move out of this window because of safe exam browser. This is one such example that we are just given, that is for that HTML quiz that we have said. This is the tool that we are using, that is safe exam browser, for this purpose. This is how a teacher can see. This is how a teacher can see a performance of a student and accordingly guide them for improvement. We have also integrated our Moodle LMS with the tools and features to facilitate the better learning of processes. One such tool is Virtual Programming Lab, which is used for the programming courses. Like example shown here is Programming in C, which is the first year basic course in programming, where a teacher can use this tool to explain syntax, semantics, logic of the program, and show the output to the student on their screen. It is also used by the teacher to check the efforts taken by the student to develop the code. Our Moodle LMS also has been integrated with the Google assignments with the help of Google Classroom. It is used for generating, sharing a coursework, and creating assignment for our students and making them submit through Google Classroom in LMS. This is the screenshot showing how integration is done by a teacher to create an assignment and give it to the student for submission and evaluation. This is assignment setup done by the teacher. This is experiment submission. This is the experiment submission. This is eventually uploading the shared document on the Google Drive so that their document will be also on their share folder on Drive. Evaluation can be done and grades can be shared with the students. Here the grades can be shown, and if additional feedback that we want to give it, then one can be able to give it from this. We also make use of our LMS for students to give your course feedback and exit surveys at the end of their course or at the end of the program. This is a sample exit survey where teacher can create exit survey questionnaire and student will be asked to give the responses. These responses can be used for further analysis and improvement in processes. This is showing sample questionnaire created by a teacher, and then responses can be collated and extracted in particular format. These are the different formats in which we can be able to extract the responses for further processing. Next is some reports and statistics. So this part will be covered by Dr. Deepak. So over to Dr. Deepak. Thank you all.
Thank you, Manish. So as I said in the start, this is the statistics. We have around 1,000 courses, some 3,600 students. But in these last few days, because of the lockdown and because of the activities all moving online, we are having a lot of traffic and we are having a lot of student engagement through this LMS. Maybe on a typical day, we are having, let's say, around 1,500 to 2,000 students with more than 3,000 visitors, multiple visitors. And on a typical day, when we have our quizzes scheduled, the users go beyond even 3,000. So that is the kind of engagement we are having in these days of lockdown. And this is how our LMS Moodle is helping us keep students engaged throughout this lockdown period. So these are some of the reports which we've extracted to show these are the 6 engineering departments which we cater to for doing our teaching, learning, and evaluation through this LMS. This is activity-wise users, activity per courses. Of course, this is pre-lockdown. Post-lockdown, the number of users have increased drastically. Again, this is activity per courses. Some other statistics per activity per user roles. So this is it from our side. We are making best use of LMS for student engagement and evaluation, as well as using differentiated instructional strategies and active learning strategies for delivering our teaching, learning, evaluation in engineering education. Thank you very much, everyone. If there is time, we can take some questions. Thank you.
Well, we have a couple of minutes. So please, if everyone have questions, leave it in a public chat.
Okay. It seems that there's. Thank you very much for your presentations. It's been fantastic. We really enjoyed it. And please, now we are going to start the next session. So please go out of this room and join the other room. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Michelle.
Yeah, Diego.
Hello. We just finished the other session.
Okay.
So we'll let them people to have like 1 or 2 minutes more to join this presentation.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, you can start.
Does Fiona will say something, or should I just start in a minute or two?
Fiona.
It's fine if, yeah.
Well, if you want, I can introduce you. If not, I will send a text to Fiona. We'll wait for a couple of minutes.
I can introduce myself as well. Yeah.
I know, I can imagine.
No, if you want to save time.
Okay.
Okay, so shall I start?
Yes, please, Michelle. I can see that the numbers are growing up. We've got 71 years of people that attendees in the room. So yes, please.
Okay.
And welcome and thank you for being here.
Okay, fine. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Michelle. I'm part of the team at Tamarind Tree, an organization that has been working to redefine elementary education in India. I'm quite surprised actually that there are 70 people. Many of you are known to us. We've been working together, but we have about a decade of experience in testing and experimenting with open educational technologies, particularly with marginalized children. At the ground level, we run an operation in Northwest Maharashtra in Dahanu, where we run a school for tribal children from class 1 to class 10. And we've built a model of educational intervention entirely on the open source framework, right from the hardware to the content and the software. We are committed fully and wholly to only using open educational resources. And we've put this model in place. We have a Moodle instance called mybigcampus.in, which we experimented with our tribal children from class 1 to class 10, and we've now opened mybigcampus.in pan India. We opened it last year, but it's got a momentum in the lockdown, where we are offering open and free elementary courses, that is courses for primary children from 6 years to 14 years, and we've even extended to 18 years. We have been advocating and pushing in all forums, particularly in the MoodleMoots, but in all public forums, that the only way to build any kind of equity in India in education is to go open. The only way that we can actually provide good quality education to every learner, particularly given the inequity in our country, is to use an open framework. Right from the first MoodleMoot in 2016, which was held in Delhi, Tamarind Tree and my team have played a role to bring the idea of technology in education with a philosophical perspective, with a political understanding. And I think taking off from where Martin said that, Moodle and a lot of the other open source responses are the resistance. We are the resistance rebels, where we are telling the society and we're telling the world that technology in education or technology in any sphere, whether it's media or it's music or it's filmmaking or it's my personal life, needs to be driven and controlled by the community. So my presentation today is not the nitty-gritties of Moodle, which there are many people who are going to share, but it's really putting a philosophical framework into us as educators, us as computer programmers, us as people who run edtech companies, and us as learners, and saying that why and how can Moodle build and help build an open education movement in India. I will try to answer some of the questions in the public chat, but I have only 15 minutes, so I'll move ahead. A lot of these things we are aware of. We've been talking about. A lot of us are products of a really problematic education system. We have the right to free and compulsory education in India, yet the goal of primary education has not been achieved. The data is very, very skewed. Some people say there are 30 million children out of school. Some people say there are 13 million children out of school. You will all agree with me that the quality of education today, whether it's in a public school or in a private school, but particularly we are talking about the public schooling system, the context, the relevance, and it's completely redundant. You go to school from class 1 to class 10, you are in an atmosphere of rote learning, you are in an atmosphere of hierarchy. The content that you are actually engaging with is completely sort of redundant. So some of the problems of the education system need to be addressed and acknowledged. And what we find is that people keep saying, yes, we know this, and yes, we know this, and then parallelly they get excited about technology, but they don't really, there's no clear understanding that the dissonance of the pedagogy and content with what is happening in modern times is very, very high. So if we are going to apply edtech to replicate the same dissonance, we're going to do the same rote learning through a platform like Moodle. We're going to continuously do extensive grading, extensive competitive examinations. We're replicating the education system just on a digital platform. So what we spend time saying is that please try to acknowledge and understand what are the problems. Along with the dissonance in the content and the pedagogy, there's also been, since the 90s when India has opened up its market, there's been an increasing commodification of education. So once we've opened up our markets, we also looked at education as a product. We looked at it as a product to be transacted, and the student became a consumer. Now, in our opinion, this has created the biggest sort of problems in the education system, because children like this in the picture you see from a village close by are simply denied access. And if they have access, they have no they have no quality education. So increasingly, with the opening up of the market, the commodification of education, and then the ownership. So now the ownership is not just of the content. It's not just a Byju's who will tell me how electricity is produced, but it's also ownerships of digital infrastructure and platforms and the technology that has become increasingly proprietary. These are issues that we must understand when we look at Moodle in the larger picture, because Moodle is offering some solutions. I'll just go ahead. These are typical classrooms. I think a lot of you are aware of how Indian education system, particularly even the private education systems are still herding. They're still looking at classrooms as a delivery space. They're still there is a student teacher hierarchy. This is a typical village school nearby where we operate, and essentially is becoming increasingly increasingly true that there's no point in sending somebody to school, whether you're from a privileged or an underprivileged background. So what we are saying is that us as a community of people in the open source, or us as a community of practitioners, us as educators, need to first situate education as a right and not a privilege. We need to see that the kind of structural inequity in a country like India, the society is so fragmented. If we really want education to be as a basic human right, then we need to look at education as a right and then figure out how Moodle fits into this. Now, what does the open education movement say? And sometimes I think that a few people forget the critical parts of the open education movement, which is that it fundamentally is looking at how it can change the social relationships in the society. Can these children sitting in the image can participate in the global world, not just by consuming high quality content, but by creating it, by owning the means and the tools of production of how to create this content, by owning the digital infrastructure? The open education movement definitely builds equity, but it puts into place very critical questions of ownership, very critical question of who owns the infrastructure, who owns the digital resources, who accesses it, and who then uses it. It's collaborative. I mean, all of you know this, but I think sometimes in our work, this gets forgotten. And for us, it can fundamentally alter the way we do education. And this is for us, and in the last 10 years has been the critical point, that we didn't use technology just for technology's sake. We didn't think that this is, like it's technology and it's wow. But we wanted to change education, and technology became the tool and the means by which we could change the way education is done. This again is possible because of open tools and platforms like Moodle. Just before I get into that, so when we're talking about how an open education tool or how an open education technology can actually change the way you do education. So for us at Tamarind Tree, and the next session is being conducted by Chirag, and he's going to share a lot of how we broke the education model. We were able to put in place, we started with blended learning, but we were able to put in place a independent self-learning mode of education with no classroom delivery, content and direction of pedagogy being directed from the screen, children deciding their own pace, and teachers really becoming mentors, teachers really saying that, look, the onus of learning is on you. There is everything available today. We can only mentor and facilitate your learning. So our vision of saying that people need to become self-motivated learners. The world today is about how I learn, not how I can teach and what I can teach, but how I can really learn. And we were able to fulfill these, fulfill these ideas and values because of a platform like Moodle, along with a host of other open source, open educational resources. And I think this is critical, that that platforms like Moodle allow you to dismantle the existing structures, which are really very problematic. Now, what we are saying is that Moodle can really, a platform like Moodle can really spread across India. And some of the recent developments have been that post 2016-17 particularly, a lot of private players have come into India, and there is a huge data penetration. There is, I mean, the mobile revolution, as you all know, is, absolutely across the country. So there are solutions that open education tools and open educational resources like Moodle can offer pan-India to both elementary, secondary, and all kinds of other educational institutions. So we are looking at things like Zilla Parishad school could have a local hosted server even on a Raspberry Pi, so that in a particular classroom 50 children log into a local server if there are internet issues, along with a package of OERs, right from your content authoring tools like H5P or the Big Blue Button or Gcompre, and we use a lot of other tools. You could really create a holistic experience for the child at very, very affordable costs. The other reason why the open education movement and Moodle makes sense for a country like India, in case anyone has a doubt, is the sheer affordability of it. So these are points that that we need to consider. However, what we've been struggling with for the last 10 years, and this is why we come as advocates, is there is no mindset to really be open, whether it's from the government or it's even from edtech players. Private players, programmers, individuals need to see that there is potential and open is the only way to go. They need to believe in it philosophically and politically, and then they also need to understand that there is revenue possible. Moodle is an example in itself. There are so many other wonderful global, open education projects and open projects in other spaces that have proved that they are sustainable and revenue generating. For some reason, over the last 10 years, maybe because we are a developing country, we have issues of our resources are tight. But I think we lack imagination as a country to say that really, yes, we can go open, and really we must adopt open education tools. There are many people in this forum who I've had discussions with over the last 5 years, and there's been a resistance to release their products in the open domain. They're scared that the open domain will not generate the revenue. So I think we all together here need to play a role in saying that the future is open, and we need to push for the use of open resources like Moodle. So I mean, that's really one of the reasons the broader outlook that Moodle must be pushed as one of the open solutions in a country like India for elementary and secondary education. And what we've done in the last 8 to 10 years is that we've said that, look, this is possible with tribal children in a rural village in Maharashtra, where children from a young age are only using open educational tools, as I said, whether it's hardware or it's software or it's any kind of content. And if this is possible in an area like this, then we definitely believe that Moodle and the whole set of open education resources can really be applicable across the country and be used to push that education is a human right. So as I said earlier, for us, the experiences have been phenomenal. We struggled a lot with the use of Moodle. We started off in 2011-12, and I think it was only in 2017-18 that we got a confidence that this is how education must be done, and this is what the platform is for. So we are at mybigcampus.in. This is how a typical, this is what a mentor does in our school. She mentors a student one-on-one. We broke the classroom structure completely with Moodle. The teachers come into the school and come into the learning space saying that I'm a learner today. What can I learn? What can I build? What new can I do? And what can I release in the open source domain? And critically, our byline is that learners need to be producers and not consumers of content. They need to be self-motivated, independent learners, and adopt the new way of the new kind of aspirations and the requirements of the society as there are. So so for us, really, for us, we do two things. We through the school, which is a testing lab at Dahanu, we release a lot of our content into mybigcampus.in, into other spaces, and we, as pedagogy people, as educators, and as people who are, what we call ourselves a DIY setup, we learn everything ourselves. We set up our own servers, we figure it out, and we experiment, we test, and then we get feedback from the students, and we once again experiment, and we once again test. And in this manner, we kind of build a pedagogy and a learning practice that is applicable and relevant. So I had promised that I'd keep the session very short so that there would be some opportunity for discussion. And one of the concerns has always been that open is not sufficient. You have to use proprietary content, you have to go into the proprietary world. But over the last 10 years we found that this is just not true. For every problem that we had, there was always a solution in the open. Whether it's helping our children read fluently, we use the Read Aloud plugin, or it's scheduling meetings with children, there's a scheduler. So it's just that educators simply look at software as a technological solution, whereas we are looking at software as a sociological solution to a problem to a problem of education that needs to be dismantled. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to end there. I think I have been very concise, but I think I have some time. So can I open the floor for questions, Diego, Fiona?
Yes. Any questions to Michelle? Can you write it in the in the chat, the public chat?
Currently, just to share while we are at it, currently we have opened up platform Pan India in this lockdown, and children from all over the country, including our children, located in these villages, are logging in to mybigcampus.in through their mobile phones, and we use exactly this platform. We use the LMS on My Big Campus along with the virtual classroom on Big Blue Button, and we are delivering classes back to back. How do you measure the success of your method? And so we don't measure we don't measure the success, but as I said, it's a space of constant reflection and constant looking at, did we use this tool correctly? Was this content that we put in the Moodle platform, really working for children? Did this interactive video help? Was this H5P designed properly? Did it achieve the course objectives? Can I use database instead? So in the next session, we are going to be sharing how we actually do this. Chirag's presenting actually how our platform works. All our children in the school, we have 125 children in the school that use the Moodle platform. We give quizzes, they use the mobile app at home, and the mobile app has been successful. Yes, we are using it for children between 7 years and 14 years, and these are all Adivasi children located in villages in Maharashtra. Raspberry Pi is brilliant. We are in a low resource area. We have electricity issues. And for the last 4 years, we've converted all our classrooms with Raspberry Pis. We have about 60, 70 Raspberry Pi machines that are used. And we've never had to do anything with them. We host our own OS on it. It's called TreeBN. And we are happy to, share it with you. TreeBN has been customized from Debian, and it has a host of generic utilities as well as packages like Tuxmat, gcompre, and other kind of gamified tools. It is possible in rural areas, Dr. Gopinath. I'm right now sitting in a tribal village 3 hours away from Bombay myself, and you will be surprised that tribal parents are willing to spend money and willing to buy laptops and Raspberry Pis for their children. They are willing to invest in a mobile phone so that the child has access to education. And it's not like the poor in our country don't understand the value of good quality education. They understand that the Zilla Parishad schools are not really providing anything for that matter. Yeah, we will release TreeBN on our site. It was there earlier. I need to just put it up again. It's called tamarinetree.org. We will release TreeBN there, and we are happy to share our experiences regularly. Yeah. Students in Kashmir, we are happy to help Manmeet if we can. We don't need to move from here. We can help you set up a platform. You can use our platform. My Big Campus is now open. We install TreeBN on micro SD cards, put them into Raspberry Pis, and we send them across. So we could install a TreeBN. We could courier you a micro SD card that you could install in your school in Kashmir, or Muralidharan could use. I think I'm losing time. Diego said 1 minute, so I will give sufficient time to my colleague Chirag, who's going to share a little more about how we use Moodle. You can email me at michelle@tamarinetree.net. We are happy to help people set up their own platforms, help with open education resources, help with installation, help with any kind of guidance. Our content is also available. So you can please reach out to us. We have a full-fledged grading and assessment system on Moodle. Yeah, Diego, shall I end?
Yes, please.
So we could, yeah. So we continue. This is going to continue by in the next session. So if you join there, Chirag will explain a little bit more.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you
very
so much
Michelle.
for such a nice audience and a big audience, actually. Yeah.
Good, fantastic. Please leave this room and join us in the next presentation that will be in the other room. Please, thank you.
Sure.
All right, I think let's get started because the longer we wait, then it's going to push more sessions later and later. So let's get started, and I think I can see the numbers going up, so it looks like people are joining as we speak. So over to you, Chirag.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Fiona. All right, so yeah, hi friends, and very good morning to all of you. And so I'm basically from Tamarind Tree, and so I've been a facilitator in Tamarind Tree since the last 3.5 months. And prior to joining, I was working in a corporate in accounting and finance and data analysis. Hi, Deepak. And business analysis and this kind of an environment. And I chose to join Tamarind Tree because it's a school, and it's a school for the underprivileged and the marginalized community, and it was technology based. So I had worked on ERP systems for my accounting and finance and analysis. So I thought this would be a good sort of continuity into that domain of ERP systems and all that I like. So I joined this school, and it's based on Moodle, and it uses other open source technologies, completely all open source. And it was something new to me. And I would wonder that how is it all happening on this web-based ERP called Moodle? And the main question, the main question of this presentation that I had is the doubt that I had before joining. Myself, yes, Chirag, and all of you know. So basically, it's about my twist with Moodle. It's from being a skeptic to believer in this pretty short time because of what I've experienced. And of course, it's a long journey to explore Moodle and to understand its dynamics. And but yes, in this particular presentation, all I'm taking care of is to address the doubt that I had when I started. Like, this is a primary school, and it's a school for the underprivileged and this kind of community. And it starts with a doubt that can this entire primary school, up to students up to the age of, like, I had heard Moodle was there in universities and also. I'm like, can this entire school run purely on these kind of technologies and primarily on Moodle? And what about this traditional whole schooling that I went through, and how is it being taken care here? So I was a digital facilitator. I had to hold meetings with the child is what I was told, and I would participate in course creation and these kind of things. But my concerns were still not addressed, and I was like, okay, I need to be patient and I'll figure out. So what are we going to do in this little presentation here is in this section, all I've taken. So I had these questions. First is in where is the teacher? I'm addressing the point that what about content delivery? The questions I had in terms of my experiences that I had in school, in terms of my teacher delivering, instructing, her teaching strategies, the feedback, and all those things that I had in real time with my teacher. What about that? Second part, in collaboration, in terms of what I had in my school, in terms of my collaboration and my interactions with my friends and those kind of activities. What about that in this school? These were my questions. And last, about assessments. Okay, I knew that it's possible to have these quizzes with MCQs and fill in the blanks and all, but there were more different kind of assessments that we had to test different cognitive abilities in my school that I would wonder how is it being taken care here. And last, I'm going to talk about the scheduler, which is like something for which helps in facilitating the children. And the last part is about the data and this changing times, and two kinds of modeling is just the last thought. So I'll begin with the doubt that I've discussed. Like, can a school that too for the underprivileged and these kind of students from these kind of communities run on technology and like Moodle. How is it like, what's happening there? Okay, so first part is like, where is the teacher? That was something I would wonder. And what I'm doing is I'm sharing certain experiences that I had on the Moodle platform, that behind which are strong pedagogical principles and thoughtful strategies, which is something I'm assuming are taken care of, especially when we think about schooling, and also we assume that yes, the teacher knows what he needs to do. So all that, yes, when we are as course creators in Moodle, we are told that primarily Moodle is just a tool. You have to be very specific in terms of your teaching strategy, in terms of the objective of the lesson, in terms of the learning outcomes that we want. And then I would think, okay, well, that's fine. Like, we'll manage that. That's a traditional, teacher's responsibility. But what about how is Moodle going to support? So you see that in my school, we had these lectures, instructions, interactions, presentations, illustrations, demonstrations from the teacher, the questioning and the feedback. And all of this, what would happen in this Moodle environment? Okay, like any of you just have to think about your schooling and everything you did. And now we are here in a school that is, students come, they sit on their Moodle platform. We are in somewhere else and doing what we need to do. Sometimes, yes, we need to meet physically also. So what's happening? So as you see, it turned into audio, video, animations, simulations. H5P opened up a whole new world of interactives. We had text-based pages, live classes, and something to do with AI, which I'm going to show you. So the question was, where is the teacher? Okay, now let's have a look. All of you can see that I'm just sharing certain examples from our LMS that behind which are demonstrating this concern of where is the teacher. So here we see that we have a simple assignment in English, or a simple reading assignment where the child has to read, and we are dealing with different kinds of learners: auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, visual learners. So we have these different mediums that Moodle supports. Here Moodle supports an audio and a text. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is starting to be something I'd expected, but what about more? Okay, so here we can see that we have these animations that we can make, and we can also upload it onto the Moodle platform as videos, interlace it with other texts and audios on the page, on the learning page. Yes, Rajan, the age group of these students is, yes, it starts from pre-primary. Basically, Moodle starts from, I think, class 1, and I'm in the secondary section, so I deal with students from class 4 to class 10. So class 8 primarily, and now even 9 and 10 in our school. So these are our school kids. Age would be around 6 years to 14 years is the age, as Rajan is asking. So this is our school, a normal school. Now, so where is the teacher? So as I showed you, we had these options of text-based, audio-based animations. Then what I see was we can create our own videos. This is the videos that we have to create as course creators. We can upload it onto the Moodle platform as videos. We can record lectures, and the question that, can this school run purely on the Moodle platform and the child is only there, and whatever we need to do has to go through the platform. So can it support this kind of a thing? And such questions in terms of assessments and future, I'll reach there. So you see that this is an example where we have our videos. Going further, we have these demonstrations that we do. Again, we can put up our videos that is visible here. And after we have these demonstrations and illustrations, we have simulations. We record our simulations, and Moodle supports putting them up in presentations through H5Ps or purely as videos, just videos or links to YouTube videos that we can make. And again, we use simulations, as I mentioned. So something that I would do in school, I'm seeing here, one of my, another facilitator of our school, he's also demonstrating a simulation that these web-based technologies are supporting. Now we move ahead to H5Ps. Now H5Ps is a whole new world that even Martin mentioned some time back is being completely integrated into our Moodle instance. Our instance is My Big Campus. And here you see that it's a branching lesson. So H5P for lessons and content delivery gives options of tree maps and timelines and branch-based learning, scenario-based learning, or even interactive videos and audios. So I would wonder that, what about the scenario where in my school, the teacher would deliver and I would ask questions, or the teacher would ask questions to test. So here you see we have these questions interlaced along with the presentation, along with the video in between. So when we as course creators, yeah, Ajit, I'll get back to that question. It's a profound question which requires a different debate altogether, but I'll continue with where I am right now. So we have these, we can interlace these questions while the student is, going through the video or through the presentation that we create to test the child. And these questions could be of various forms to test either recall or application and these kind of cognitive metrics. And in terms of where is the teacher, I'm still there. We have these again H5Ps that allow another instance of, all these dots that you see are different kinds of interjections that we put so that the child is alert, awake, answering in branching scenarios. He gets redirected if he gets it wrong. So whatever we do in class is getting translated here very thoughtfully that we need to do. And it engages the students, and I'm reaching to the grading and the assessments. And last instance of where is the teacher? Yeah, so yes, Fiona, I'll be quick. So another instance is where the AI plugins in Moodle helps us to do the traditional reading and the reading assignments, where you see we record ourselves and the child gets, all the energy we invest is getting it here, and the child gets an instance, and we can save the time and get because of these children from what background they are, we can facilitate them. They need our hand holding. Mainly because of the kind of communities they come from. So we put up this, we save time by using Moodle, by getting things done quickly, and it has longevity. So here the child has to read and record, and you see the AI grades it. So we can hear the audio of the child, and then we can have a facilitated, a meeting with the child to guide him to read better, to express better, to talk better. So the AI also helps. You don't have to do the grading. So these kind of options and possibilities are there. In terms of the next part is collaboration. Now we're done with the traditional content delivery, teaching strategies, instructional strategies, and methods. What about my discussions with my friends and those interactions I had and this collaboration? So here we see that, I'll be quick. Here we see a forum. Now we host a forum and the child responds. It's good for those kind of learners who are otherwise coy and shy, and they express better in forums where they can think thoughtfully and answer. They might be otherwise very reticent. It helps them. It's asynchronous learning where they can answer at their own pace. So I never knew this kind of thing was possible, but we had these guided discussions on forums. We also use databases where you see the students have commented here to a guided discussion by one of our facilitators, and basis a database that we create of observations that we use in science. That's one of the options Moodle provides us, which I didn't know and I found very interesting. And glossaries where children can come together, create a glossary together, collaborate on it, and comment on each other's terms and definitions, which helps them to be alert while in the course that we designed to think about the new words and the terms. And lastly, in collaboration, what I have is, you see here in this area that our facilitator is guiding or leading a little chat or discussion from the blocks that we put up here, new kinds of content that we put up, or new information or new things from the web that are open source, new ideas specifically for them. So we can chat, and it's very informal, and the child learns through these kind of chats and guided discussions that we have. And Moodle provides these kind of options in real time. All right, so now assessments. I'll be quick on this part. Now, mainly assessments, I would think, and all in my school, I had all these exams and everything. Now, what about here? Is it going to be just a quiz and that's all? But here we see that there are various ways and tools to be able to test your knowledge, your comprehension, your synthesis of what you're learning. And behind every Moodle has this thing that it's built basis very strong pedagogical principles. It's something I didn't know, which I experienced with seeing our instance of Moodle and our development of these courses, where all of these things and deduction, expression, all of these things that we would want to test cognitively of the child, Moodle provides ways to do that, which I would think what is there and how is it possible. So here I'm going to be quick now. Here we see that we have a quiz where we put up something called an embedded close type of a question in a quiz that you can just code different kinds of MCQs, fill in the blank, short answers, everything in one go, and create this huge question where you want to test different abilities. Either it's just plain recall, or it's deduction and problem solving, or whether it's plain comprehension by match the following or something of that sort. And I move forward to the quiz. As I mentioned, there are various question types that you see here that are possible to test different kinds of cognitive abilities that we would want to test, whether it's true or false, match the following, and essay writing, anything that you can think is possible. Even here, the child, now these are assignments where the child is gonna see a picture-based story and he has to write. Now we want the child to write and he submits as an online text, and we can grade it, we can annotate the grading, we can write over on his page, we can give feedback, we can record ourselves, we can record the audio, which I did very recently, even my video as a feedback. And all of this I didn't know. So I found it pretty amazing that everything is happening on this platform, which is a web-based ERP, and it's open source and it's free, and it's making the whole school run like a school that I was a part of. And yes, another assignment where I remember when in our school we had to take these leaves and mark, and we have a similar thing here, but we want the child to upload his image, mark it, and we can get the image on Moodle. He can upload his image. So it's just this typical assignments that we would clip our leaves and these kind of things on paper and submit it to our teachers. Here the child has to do it, click an image. We have a phone in the school that can even facilitate that, and he can upload it, and we can correct it, grade it, that he can upload on Moodle. He can upload even in this kind of an assignment where the child marks it, puts it on paper, or draws the table on the online submission, fills it, and then we grade it. So different kinds of assessments are possible. Even here we want the child to, he can record himself and upload his own video while conducting the experiment, and we can grade it, suggest. So all these kinds of assessments are possible. And an H5P is a different world altogether with match the following. This is an instance where it's called marking the word, where the child has to identify the words. And with H5Ps, you open up a whole world of assessments that you just have to decide your strategy to assess and have it defined in terms of what cognitive ability you want to test. And H5P or Moodle has a solution. It's something I have seen, and the plugins is another world that is there. Which I'm yet to understand. Last part before I finish the school part is scheduling here. It's an add-on that I really love, where we schedule meetings with the child. Here, these are the students. These are it's us as facilitators, and we have these meetings to, at the traditional part of the school where we have to guide the student. We have to ensure that he's on track. What is he doing? Whether he has doubts, we have to resolve the doubts. So we just put it. The child sees in his calendar, and we meet at our location or we meet online. I'm reaching there. Yeah, one last part in terms of the schooling. Yeah, I have 2 minutes. I'll be done. Dynamics of data is something I would want to mention. Is something an add-on. So I came from this data analysis background, and also I'm like, where is the data? I want to see the data that's being generated. So, and it's really interesting to see that. Look here, it's very interesting. Here you see the entire result of your quiz that you hosted. You just identify questions where the most students have gone wrong, and you decide a strategy. Or you see collective responses. So you had this quiz, and it was a general quiz on geography. And we saw the collective responses of all the students across questions to get an overview, and we decided the feedback session. In one instance, I'm getting an entire overview of all the responses which are subjective in an essay writing question. And all we need to do is have a small session to guide the students. And this kind of data analysis is like, I just love it. And of course, you can see the views, how many views the child is having across each page. So if we have a test, oral test is something we take over and above. So I see the backend of the child. Has he seen that page? The test is 3 days later. I'm like, oh, I've seen. You've not seen the page. Please go and take a look. Don't miss the quiz. Review your quiz. So when I take a test, I see he's not seen this. So I'll ask the question from that page only. So I find this very interesting, which is something was not there in traditional schooling. And of course, the logs that you see here, how many times the course page is being hit by the student. So if I see for a long time he's not access the read alouds, or maybe intermediate English. So it's just a part of my job to tell him, okay, please access it. I send him a message, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead with it. Okay, I'll be done with the schooling part. I'm done with whatever I had to say about Moodle and my experience. And yes, a school can run on the entire platform of Moodle, and it's much more than this. But I just had to give a little background on what I've experienced. Now, in these changing times, now surprisingly, I had to facilitate physically. Now our school has actually gone truly virtual, where I have to meet because of this situation in our world right now, completely digitally on the big blue button, which is a plugin, which is a part of our LMS, and whatever facilitation I would do physically, I have to do it from here. So it opens a whole world of possibilities where students can join from anywhere and volunteer to help these students who need that kind of a facilitation. Yeah, Fiona, I'm done. I'm not more than a minute. And yeah, a few classes that we take with even outside students, hosted on Moodle and Big Blue Button. And a last thing is, before I end, 10 seconds more, is two kinds of Moodling. Okay, we have two kinds of Moodling here. One is the Moodle that I am on the interface where I'm Moodling. And the last part is with our children. Another meaning of Moodle is this slow-paced, enjoyable tinkering and experimenting, which leads to creativity and insight, is what we want our students to experience. So two kinds of Moodling that goes on in our school. And yeah, thank you for your patience. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chirag. Sorry to keep you on such a timeline, but thank you for your contribution. I just want to let everybody know that Nicole's session, which was supposed to be the next one on the list, has actually been recorded. So we will share the recording from that session with you all later. So the next session that's actually going to be running is the one from Ballistic. So for those of you
Hello? Hello, everybody. Ballistic Learning is here. Can you check your microphone, please? Lokesh, can you hear me?
Yes, Anitish, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. We can start if you're ready. If you will use your webcam, you also can connect it.
I'm waiting for Pallavi to join this call, join this presentation. Okay, just give us a minute.
Okay. Hello, everybody again. We're just waiting for the presenter. Can you hear me well? Okay, thank you. Hello, Lokesh. Lokesh? Lokesh, sorry, we can't hear you. Can you check your microphone, please? I heard you before, but now we can't hear you.
Sorry, Loris, we cannot hear you. No, we still cannot hear you. No. Okay. Just leave the audio and try to come again to see what happens. Sorry for the delay. We are trying to solve all these technical issues. Let's hope we can start in 5 minutes. Okay, it's a good time to go for a coffee.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Naveen. Hello, Abhishek. Are you here? Can you hear me well?
Yes, Anastasia, we are here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We'll start in a couple of minutes. Okay, so if you're ready, yeah, just in 2 minutes, we can start the session. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, everyone. So I'm just waiting for my partner, Abhishek. Abhishek, you there?
Perfect, Naveen. Once you're ready, you can start. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I think there is an audio issue for Abhishek. Just give me a minute and just checking with him. Okay, I think Abhishek having some issues with the audio, so let me continue with this. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is good and safe. So today we are going to discuss about the reporting for our very old client, QA Park University. So before that, myself, I'm Naveen. I'm a project manager in EFBAS Info Solutions, and EFBAS is a Moodle partner. And today we're going to discuss about the how we help the DY Park University with the reporting. So the reporting is one of the key feature for any university or any college or any school, to analyze the data and take a crucial decision. So that's where we want to give the case study on the reporting for the DY Park University. So I think I was expecting Abhishek to join with me. I think he has some audio issues. Abhishek, still you there?
Yeah, hi Naveen.
Yeah,
I am audible?
Yeah, perfect. That's great. So yeah, Abhishek is a LMS administrator from DY Patil. Yeah, please, Abhishek.
So, hi everyone. I am Abhishek Kumar. So, I am currently working as a LMS manager at DY Patil University. So, I am helping our university to manage all the online learning management needs using the Moodle based custom e-learning platform. Okay. So, next I will tell you about the what issues we are facing earlier in terms of LMS reporting.
So in DY Patil University, as Naveen told you, we have 13 instances. So 13 instances has around 10,000 students plus faculties. So managing these many user statistics manually from multiple instances are very difficult, and frankly speaking it's a very time taking activity, because we have to go one by one and download the report and then compiling all report to analyze the performance of the students as well as the faculties. So as we have a centralized team, we have to look into the entire 13 colleges of the university. So also management needs and demanding reports timely. So we are getting stuck onto this part. So what we have planned to streamline the LMS reporting with the help of e-Abhyas team. So e-Abhyas is custom report builder tool where all the 13 instance statics are there with graphical presentation. So this custom report builder tools help us a lot to track performance of the LMS user, and as well as we are providing reports timely to our management team and all of the faculties who are required of these reports. So right now this is very helpful tool. So Naveen, I will take you through to more details of this custom builder tool, so you can just give brief about this tool.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Abhishek. So yeah, as Abhishek mentioned, the reporting is a crucial part for them. When it comes to the engagement of the students, and they want to track everything, how the content is working and how students are performing or not. Students are participating. So it's more of like a management is concentrating more on how the students interacting with LMS. So the major are you guys can hear me fine? I saw the message that it's much slower. Okay, so yeah, so that's a main disadvantage with the existing thing. So they have like 13 different colleges. Each college has its own Moodle instance, and they have reports and data in their own instance. So the university is looking for the dashboard or the reports which consolidate all this data in a single platform, so that they just want to see the data on a single dashboard page. So that's where we want to implement this solution for them, where they can consolidate all the data into single dashboard page and they can view the data. And this will improve the engagement of the students, and they can track the student active logins and faculty's participation in the LMS and the content rating kind of things. So that's where we introduce the tool LearnerScript. Okay, so LearnerScript is a YabBest plugin. It's a YabBest product. So we just want to use this tool to help them with the reporting. So LearnerScript has a lot of interesting features to help them. Like it has a dashboard management where user can create their own dashboards, maybe instructor or it may be administrator or anyone, so that they can have their own dashboard to track the data or view the data. And the dashboard represents the data in a graphical format, nice charts and graphs, so that it will be easy for them to understand the data and how the trends are going on. And they can download the reports in a different format. And the scheduling part is very much important for them. They don't want to log into the system every time to check the data, to check the report. So what we have here is the scheduling a report, so that they can schedule it for monthly or weekly or daily basis, so that they can have the report to their email inbox as an attachment. So that will be very much useful for them. And also, we don't want to put a lot of load on the existing Moodle instances. So that's the reason we have a separate instance for this reporting, where we are sync all the data into single instance, and from there we are just fetching the data to display the dashboard of these reports. And also, administrator want to create their own reports. They want to completely customize their own reports and dashboards. So we are giving much flexibility for them to create their own reports and dashboards. That's how we introduce the LearnerScript. So now we are going to see what are the different type of reports we given to the DY Patil using the learner script, and how these reports are useful for them. Yeah, as you can see, this is the DY Patil University dashboard, reporting dashboard. And this dashboard will fetch the data from all 13 Moodle instances. I mean, all 13 different colleges of DY Patil University. And on this dashboard, I think the screenshot is not much visible, but I'll just walk you through each and every report on this dashboard. So this dashboard will just give the brief of participation of the students and the content and the faculty participation. Okay. So here's the first report where school-wise student login report. As you can see the percentage there for each college of the university, how much percentage of students are active and how much percentage of students are inactive. So as you can see in a different, like architecture, there's a 65% inactive students, so that they can understand that which college is participating more on the, this particular platform, so that they can just go ahead and take a particular action. So this report will give you for last 30 days, so that you can have active data for last 30 days, so that based on that they can take the decision of which college is performing well, kind of thing. And next we have a content hit rate. Management, DY Patil University management more concerned about student engagement and why students are not using the LMS. So, if you want to make the student use the LMS properly, and you just need to have a very good content with you. So that's the reason management wants to more concentrated on this content part. So they just want to see how the content is performing. So all different type of content, which content type is more popular, which content is type is viewed by more students. So that kind of reports we have where we're going to track the student content report. And again, here you can see the chart clearly stating how many active and inactive students are there. So our job is to improve that active students pie. So there are like 67% and 32%. They just need to improve based on the, it may be the content issues, it may be the faculty's participation, or there may be a lot of things involving in this active participation of the students. Yeah, this one is very much important when you want to track the faculty's participation in this LMS. So each college in each semester, how the faculty is performing, how much content they are uploading, and how students are taking it. Okay, so we just want to give a report from all the colleges. Again, all different colleges. We just want to give information from all the college faculty, so that management can focus on the content more from the faculties. Yeah, this is one of the important thing, like teaching notes, most engaging teaching notes. This is one more crucial feature to improve the engagement of the students. Which engaging teaching notes are more popular. So based on that, they can improve the content more to engage the people in the university. Yeah, I think that's about how we implemented the reporting tool for the DY Patil, and how we help them with the this reporting. I think after this reporting thing, they see a lot of change when it comes to the engagement of the students, and they're using more, and administration is taking very good decisions using these reports and dashboards. I think Abhishek, you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, Naveen, I will add few things here. So basically, it will a great tool to help the engagement students more into the LMS, because when I have joined DY Patil, so it's a time where students are not much using LMS. So with the help of this tool, we have engaged most of the students. So when I have joined, it's around 30% of the uses of the LMS on a monthly basis in a DY Patil University. But But right now the uses of the LMS is come up around 80 to 85%. So it's a drastically improvement which we have shown, and it will possible because the help of this tool, because analytics is the very important thing, and prepared our analytics to create our reports. So yeah, I say this was a great tool. So thank you, Naveen and eAbhyas team, to provide us this tool. And yeah, that's it from my side.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Abhishek. And if anyone have any questions, please let me know.
Yep, we still have time for a few questions if anybody has any. I think the few people are typing. Yep.
I think there is a question. Plugin is added, and we have to create a dashboard for each participant. That's it, I believe. No, I think it's not about user-wise dashboard setup. It's kind of a role-wise dashboard setup. If you set up a dashboard for a teacher or a student, it will be available for all different students or teachers with that role, so that they can have the dashboard, their own data, maybe like their own course related data. The which plugin we are using? Yeah, we use the Learner Script report plugin. Yeah. Yeah, we face a lot of challenges when it comes to sync the data between multiple colleges. So we were just having issues with the performance of putting load on the different instances. So we just don't want to put a load on different instances. At the same time, we want to have a live data, so we don't want to miss any data when administrator viewing the reports. So yeah, we had challenges with the multiple instances and the performance related things. Learner script provides syncing to a central report. Yeah, Learner script doesn't provide that kind of a solution, but we did it exclusively for DY Patil, as they have 13 different colleges. But by default, Learner script plugin will not provide that kind of sync process. We just did for the DY Patil.
Yeah, so reason for jump from 30 to 80% is basically we are getting stuck earlier to analyze the data, because our whole day is going to prepare a report, and then we are going to push our faculties and students to use the LMS. So right now what is happening, we have the analytics tool. So on a daily basis, in the morning, we can just send a report. More faculties into it.
Hope that's all questions. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thank you,
joining.
everybody. See you in the next
For your
session.
time.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Well, I see that people coming, so we can start.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to MoodleMoot India 2020. I'm Mahesh Chandra from eAbhyas Info Solutions, here to present you a case study of learning management solutions in pharma sector in US settlements. We at eAbhyas build custom Moodle solutions for growing e-learning needs from both education and corporate sectors. There are many factors for moving to e-learning. Our solution, as it is scalable, versatile, multilingual, and we don't have any time frame to learn the content. And basically, corporates require these kind of features the most. So coming to the topic, we had a requirement for providing a solution for USV, which is a pharma industry. The client which we have dealt with has a longer user base. So we will be going to the challenges of of managing e-learning in the pharma and the solution what we have implemented for them, and we will be having a Q&A at the end of it. Yeah. Coming to the introduction, the client we have dealt is US Settlement, which has a longer user base of 4,000 plus employees with a multi-tenant structure, and the employees were having different teams and a complex user structure. So managing all the users was a bigger task for them on a single tool. And at the end, they had to take the reports for all what they have taken. So, yeah. Yes. And the challenges, as they have a very complex user structure, we had to build a learning curve such that they have all the functionalities as per their requirements, and their level of learning was at a 5-level structure, which is at a territory level. So they have to monitor all the employees at the territory levels also, and they have the basic classroom concepts and schedules also. So these are all to be implemented in the LMS. Yeah. So here we have started the implementation in the form by taking their exact training needs. We have taken the user structures from which they have given us the inputs, where we have something like some group of users have to be nominated to some trainings, and these should all be auto generated, and all these assessments and courses, whatever they take on the LMS, should be calculating the user's performance not only outside the LMS but in the LMS also. So they have teams and managing teams. They had proficiencies to be calculated in the LMS, so on basis of each quarter, and all of these were like they have multiple level of teams, and they have multiple roles like TL, TM, and everything. So all the roles of users have their own dashboards. So they have to use some or the other tools to view their reports. So we have implemented all of them with role-wise dashboards also. Yeah. Yeah. As I have said that the clients which have dealt with US vitamins has a multi-tenant structure. They have multiple BUs or business units to be managed under a multi-tenant system, where there is no cross organization access of terms in terms of content and user access, because they won't be sharing their content and the user base with other BUs. In the same way, they had yeah, and the positional hierarchy. As I've said you in the previous slide that they have multiple positions and roles, and all those they should be maintained in have a track in the LMS. So we had a positional hierarchy to be taken into consideration, and e-learning courses. This is where the heart of Moodle courses are used in a very understandable way. The content was framed to them in forms and AICC content, and mostly the assessments in the form of quizzes. They had to take some feedback. These are also included in the courses contents, and the content was sometimes PDFs and PPTs also. And coming to the ILTs in classrooms, these ILTs are general purpose instructor-led training, which have been common in every learning institute or every learning sector, where we have to take some mandatory training online, and some have to be taken in the specific classroom. So these trainings were also being tracked in the LMS, and the attendance of the trainings were be tracked in the LMS, and the feedback for the training was also tracked. And the content, if there is any content regarding the classroom's training, those can also be tracked by just linking those courses to the classroom training. And here comes the next point is proficiency and skill feedback. So as I said, all these learnings will lead them to check their proficiency levels, as the end aim of learning is to check the proficiency. So the tool automatically checks the proficiency of the user for each quarter, where they will be engaging into the learning activity on a monthly basis, and it will help them to know where they stand. Notifications, yeah. Every tool has its own what we kind of say like to alert the user about how and what is happening. So we have built a custom notification solution for them where all the notifications can be custom generated by the admin by adding templates. These templates can be like specific to a module or generic for all the modules. Like all the courses would be getting the same kind of mail like, hi, this is your manager speaking to you regarding learn this course and all the etc. things and reporting dashboard. We have provided these people with a robust reporting and reporting dashboard where these people can have canned reports on the tool, and a person or admin who is having a basic knowledge of SQL can build his own reports uh, based on his requirements and frame them in the form of dashboards. You can just place them on the dashboards so that you can have a look over them. And these reports can also be scheduled over the mail so that he never needs to log in back for only for the reports thing. Yeah. So this is the hierarchical structure of the organization where each organization is having multiple BUs. Like here, the organization states as a business unit, and each business unit have two types of employees: sales employees and the corporate employees. And where the corporate employees are the ones who are working for the internally for the organization, and sales are for like distributing and segregating things. So the sales employees have teams, and each team is divided into four hierarchical states, like from zones, regions, areas, and territories. So here, as it is in the what we call uh, pharma domain, there is something like it should be taken rigorously. It should be taken into consideration. Like if there is no area manager left with the person, so the territory person will be directly reporting to the region manager. So in that case, we have to build some complex structures so that if there is any missing hierarchy structure, he will be directly reporting to the upper level manager. Yeah. So advantages. Sorry, I guess there's something missing on the sheet. Okay, I'll just share my screen so that it will be enabled. Give me a second. Yeah, so this is the screen where like hmm. Okay, so as we are in the e-learning domain, so we will be having up to date of the activities and the content will be updated on regular basis. And we have provided notifications at a specific activity level so that every user will be notified on basis of what is added up. And they had a need of classroom trainings, as I said that they needed to learn on a regular basis. They have defined roles, monthly feedbacks were for the proficiency calculation, and we have improved the engagement by using certificates, points, and badges. And the dashboards are too interactive so that they will be interacting with the LMS so frequently. Yeah, this is a page where admin have a look over the e-learning courses, which means like there are courses of the Moodle. From this page itself, the admin can look into the number of enrollments, the completions, and the ratings given by the end user. So that if there are n number of users rating this course as 10, so that he will be knowing this course is good enough for learning content. So this is a page where the user what he will be using as a viewing as a content, where we will be having day by day structure so that the person who learns on day one can't skip the day two on the day one itself. And there are some restrictions added on the course level so that it provides the feasibility to add only day-wise data. Yeah, assessment. This is completely customized screen for onboard employees, where what we have done is they have a single screen for all these exams and assessments, where admin can create a quick assessment and nominate users or employees who are into the system. They can directly come and access the assessment. They will be getting the grade, and the admin himself can have a look over the completions and the enrollments taken place, and he can even pull the reports regarding the completions and the enrollments on this thing. Team management. Yeah, as I have said in the previous screens that these people had multiple roles and multiple level teams. So each team has a manager who has to take care about his team members' performance. This is a page where manager comes in, looks into the screen and knows what's the performance of the user under him. So he can even allocate some e-learning content from the allocation part, and he can even approve his request. He can even check the performance by clicking on these elements, and he can even give feedback to the employees based on their performance. Yeah, this is the kind of reports dashboards which we have provided them, which are role wise, so that they will be knowing the what we call as the proficiency levels. They'll be analyzing the team's performance. They'll be analyzing the growth in how they are working and how they need to, and what stance they need to what we call as move forward. Yeah. So any questions on this can be answered. Yeah, give me a sec.
Mahesh, there's a couple of questions here for you.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get you.
Yeah, can you see the questions? The first one is, how much do these tools cost?
Sorry, but I'm not the person regarding who can answer these questions. You can just contact us on info@eabs.in, or else you can, you can just contact on eabs.com so that you can get the price rated things for this. I'm just a developer who have worked on this. This is a case study material. Yeah. You can just keep questions.
Would you like to share your contact details so people can follow up with you for questions?
Yeah, they can have it. I'll just think that in the team itself, like.
All right.
You can have
after this.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation, Mahesh. That's very much appreciated.
I guess there was an issue in the middle. I just skipped away, but this was not as expected. But thanks for giving me an opportunity. Yeah.
Okay,
and
great.
there's another mail ID I am sharing so that.
Okay. Yes. We can.
Yeah. How many users in the instance? It is up to your instance because there are n number of users. You can use of n number of users. As of now, there are 4,000 plus users, as I have said previously. Yes, this tool doesn't have that feature, but we have implemented that in some other instances. Yes, we have that feature of suggesting the employee to learn something else, which is on his domain or his learning expertise.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for participating in all the sessions so far. We're going to take a short lunch break. So this is time for all of you to get a bit of a breather, refresh, and then come back for the start of the Moodle sessions. They're going to start at local time, India time at 2 p.m. All right. So we'll see everybody back here at 2 p.m. India time. Thank you.